What up, all my fight fans? So, I want to talk to you guys about a little something. So, we got Jake Paul and all this fighter talk that's been going down. You know, been hearing a lot about him and when is he going to face an actual boxer? And that's my good question too. When is he actually going to face an actual boxer? Because we know some of the names on his hit list. He always talks about him facing Conor McGregor, him facing Nate Diaz, him facing all these other different people. But the number one name that he keeps continuing to mention over and over and over again just so happens to be Canelo Alvarez. Now, I'm sorry to say this, but Jake Paul is nowhere near ready for Canelo Alvarez. And why am I going to say that? Because I know what he's going to be saying. I know he's mentioned prior to this. He actually did an interview. I'm sure I've talked about this before, and I'm sure you guys heard about this before. How about he did an interview with Stephen A. Smith, or Stephen A. Smith did an interview with him, vice versa, whatever you want to call it, talking about how he is not ready for Canelo Alvarez. Well, he begged the difference that he is 100% ready for Canelo Alvarez. No, you are not. Jake Paul is 100% not ready. Why? Because I promise you, all the opponents that Jake Paul has went against, Canelo would have slept them in less than 30 seconds. Very easy. No disrespect to Anderson Silva, no disrespect to Tyron Woodley, no disrespect to Ben Askren, but they are just nowhere near that level. Including some of the early opponents that Jake Paul has faced. Now, I'm not discrediting Jake Paul whatsoever. Jake Paul has come a long way, a very, very long way. And he has made some great improvements, very great improvements. But at the same time, slow your roll. He needs to really slow down. He really needs, like right now, he basically faced a striker, a UFC striker, not even a boxer. He has not faced a boxer. And that's not saying that he has not wanted to. He has very much wanted to face a boxer, 100%. But at the same token, that he has just bottom line has not been in the ring with one. You know, we know he was trying to get in there with Hasim Rahman. We know he wanted to get in there with Tommy Fury. These are all well good starting boxers. But we still don't know what it's like to actually do that, because there's a big difference. There's a huge difference. Still do not want people to misunderstand what I'm trying to say here. Jake Paul 100% is looking very good. Jake Paul is looking very impressive. Jake Paul should be very proud of the accomplishments that he has done, and so of all the MMA and boxing community should be very proud, because he has come a long way. He has taken this very seriously. Very serious. But there is a but here. He has also have not been in there with somebody who has dedicated their life just like he has into one profession. Anderson Silva was a dedicated mixed martial artist, not a boxer. Tyron Woodley, same thing. Ben Askren, same thing. Some of the other fighters that he had fought, or not even fighters, like a Nate Robinson or whatever you call it, and a few other guys, were guys who were just like him, just started the sport as well. So he has yet to actually face a born, straight up 100% started as a boxer, never did mixed martial arts, never did any other sport, just straight up at the same level he has. That's something that Jake Paul has yet to go in the ring against, and that is something he really needs to do. So he could do it with the Tommy Fury. They've been doing it about the same amount of time. Same Hasim Rahman. They actually been doing it longer than Jake Paul has. So those are really good starting matchups. He should not even be close or even be thinking about a Canelo Alvarez, because I promise you he is nowhere near that level. You saw the struggle that he had with the Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, who is 47 years old. Anderson Silva, who doesn't have a whole lot of power, never really did have a whole lot of power. He has some good power, but never was really known for his power. Anderson Silva, whose reflexes are not the same. Anderson Silva's speed, what is not the same. Sure, is it still impressive that a guy who has just started boxing for 3 years beat Anderson Silva? Is it impressive? Yes. But if you're going to try to compare the fact that, he might be ready for a certain elite level competition, that no, I promise you, you're nowhere near ready for that kind of competition. You're nowhere near ready for that top 10. You put him in there against someone like a top 10, like in the light heavyweights or the super middleweights, he's gonna get crushed. It's not a like a hating thing. It's not a like you just don't like him thing. It's a straight up fact. You go any guy right now. If I decide to take on being a quarterback for like 3 years, and I just so happen to be good at it, and now I did a few good games in college, now all of a sudden I'm ready for the Super Bowl. It don't work that way. It really doesn't. You have to take that time. I promise you, Canelo Alvarez, if you put Canelo Alvarez at the young age of 21, maybe even 20, maybe even 19, and you put him in there with the Canelo Alvarez now, that kid is going to get dominated. Why? Because there's levels to this game. The years of experience that he's learned, the new things, the new techniques that he has learned in boxing. I'm talking about Canelo Alvarez. Those new techniques, he's gonna crush that old Canelo. That's just how things work. That's how life works. You learn as you go. You continue to get better. You lose. Maybe you struggled. Maybe it was a harder fight than you thought, and you learn more and more and more about yourself. And that's what Jake Paul needs to do. And he's almost refusing to do that. So he needs to get in there with the guys like Tommy Fury, guys like Hasim Rahman, if he wants to get ready for Canelo Alvarez. So that's my take on that. And is he going to fight a real boxer soon? He has to. Maybe not right away, because that Nate Diaz fight is looking very, very yummy right now. That Nate Diaz fight is looking like really, really tasty. It's a big seller for him. I heard that the Anderson Silva fight didn't sell too good, but you know what? It doesn't surprise me. Why? Because Anderson Silva is a little bit older, and there really isn't a whole lot to go off that. You know, we're like the people that bought that were just more curious. They were more curious to see how Jake Paul would do against a striker now, not a wrestler. So that's where the promotion was really at. It was more out of curiosity instead of like, oh, I got to see this fight. But now this Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul, that promotion is going to be so much more better. It's going to sell much better because they're going to be trash talking. You know, Nate Diaz is no punk. You know, Jake Paul, he's a troll. He's going to try to troll Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz ain't no punk. He ain't going to let you try to say some shit, and he's not going to say some shit back at you. He's going to talk his shit. Jake Paul's going to talk his stuff. They're both going to get in each other's faces. I'm pretty sure they might even try to mix things up before the actual fight even happens. You saw backstage at the Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul fight went down. You saw what that was like. And that right there, you saw firsthand that, hey, look, you do not mess with Nate Diaz. I know there's some speculation out there. Oh, they were just trying to sell a fight. No, I promise you not. Nate Diaz doesn't do that thing. Maybe he does try to sell his fight a little bit when he trash talks. But if someone gets in his face and someone does something, they're not going to speculate like, hey, you know what? Why don't you come back here and I'm going to say some stuff, and then you're going to say some stuff, and then I want you to slap me. And then we can sell some really great fight. It don't work that way for Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is too real for that kind of shit. Nate Diaz is not going to pretend to be something that he has not. He's never done that. He's never been that type of person. Like when they threw water bottles and Monster energy drinks at each other with Conor McGregor, would you really think that him and Conor McGregor went in the back room? You know, it'd be really cool if you show up a little late and then I leave and then I say something and then you say something and then you throw a water bottle and then I throw a water bottle. Dude, we would get so many pay-per-view buys. It don't work that way. Not with Nate Diaz. Maybe somebody else you could do that, but Nate Diaz is just way too real. That's some really fake stuff people would do. Sure, is it a good moneymaker? Absolutely. But that's just the way Nate Diaz is, the way Nate Diaz is built. It's not for him. But I promise you, with this fight, Nate Diaz is going to come as real as it gets. Jake Paul is going to try to troll him, and it's going to build that fight even that much more. And now that we know that it's not going to be a steamroll, because some people have really thought that Nate Diaz was just going to be too much for them, we see that Jake Paul can actually handle someone like Nate Diaz. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people out there that are saying that Jake Paul is actually going to beat very easily Nate Diaz, which I completely disagree. I did a video on that already regarding that. But still, that's something that we are very much looking forward to. But after that, whatever happens there, Jake Paul, if he really wants to take this serious, if he really is not just trying to just build some kind of, you know, make some money, cash some checks or whatever, that's fine. But if he's actually really trying to take this boxing serious, he really needs to get in there with a boxer. Because I promise you, it's going to be much different. MMA fighter trains one way for MMA. Boxers train one way for boxing. You can't mix and match both of them because they're completely regarding. Maybe you do the similar training, but you don't even, when MMA fighters are training boxing, they're not training as actual boxers. You know, when they're defending punches, they're not defending like an actual boxer defends his punches. There are different glove sizes. There's different defenses. There's different stances. There's different everything, you know, because MMA fighters, when they're training boxing, they're still training to make sure and looking for that takedown. They're training to look for the kicks. They're training to look for the elbows. They're not just training just for the hands. Even if they do that, they still have that mindset where the boxer's mindset is only their hands, nothing else. So that's something that Jake Paul still really needs to do. And after this fight with Nate Diaz, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'll be surprised because I hear Tommy Fury has been saying a lot of stuff that he wants to make that fight. Unfortunately, my personal opinion, I don't think that fight gets made, only because of the fact that it's already been tried to be made twice already, and both times Tommy Fury has had to pull out of that. And I really feel like if this fight is going to get made, Jake Paul had mentioned it, Tommy Fury and his group and his promoters have to pretty much put it all up, put all the money up on their end. Because, all things considered, it is true. I remember hearing Jake Paul's trainer talk about that, because it is. They put all the money up. They put the money in training. They put money in their camps. They put money in their training partners. They put money in their promotion to do everything just for someone to bail out twice. And that's a lot of money that they do not get back. So I don't see them wanting to bank on Tommy Fury again for the third time. And so that's why I feel like, true, they would have to put all that money into Jake Paul. Tommy Fury would have to do it on his end now, because they already messed up twice, unfortunately. Yeah, 2 unfortunate incidents. I believe Tommy Fury was hurt. I believe he couldn't get in the country 1 and 2 times. So now it's his turn to put all the money up. Now it's his turn to make to show Jake Paul that he is serious, that he does want this fight. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, guys. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I really don't know, but I do believe that Jake Paul does need to take on a boxer if he ever wants to try to get an actual boxing championship, because you ain't going to, basically what you're going to do is, if you're going to continue down this road, boxing MMA fighters like Anderson Silva, like Nate Diaz, possibly Conor McGregor, possibly a Jorge Masvidal next, whatever you want, maybe some other MMA fighters down the line, you are nowhere near going to get yourself ready for a boxing fight or a boxing championship. Maybe some boxers out there you might be able to fight. Maybe some people you're dropping and sparring and training. But to actually be ready, championship ready, I'm talking about that light heavyweight championship, because that's what it seems like you would do. Or the cruiserweight, even worse. You need to start boxing boxers, because ain't no way. Because I promise you, that it's completely different. Some of these boxers or some of these MMA fighters that are going into fighting and want to try to go against a championship, they will get smoked by every single boxer, just like a boxer going over there trying to going over the MMA championship. They will get smoked. It's just nowhere near the same. So I strongly advise Jake Paul to definitely start going against boxers. No more MMA fighters. Maybe a couple more here. Get that big paycheck. Get that big payday. Get that big following, like he would do against Nate Diaz, like he would do against a Conor McGregor. Then after that, head to the races. Take this more serious. Take this boxing way more serious, to the next level, and pure boxers on the other side of the ring. That's my personal opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.